Hello YouTubers, you probably did a search on how to install a sound system or speakers on a boat. In this video I'm going to go through the process of how to install 2 additional speakers to my boat as well as an amplifier, and the intention is to enhance the sound quality in this boat. Safety is everybody's own responsibility. Please make sure that you use the necessary precautions to protect yourself, protect your eyes, lungs, body, and limb. And enjoy this video. I hope you find it informative. And if you can use it and you find it informative, please click like right down below.
Hi everyone. So I have an 18-foot bow rider. It's a Maxium 2006, and I have a Sony stereo that I put in this boat a couple of years ago, and I also installed, as part of the installation of the radio, I installed 2 marine speakers. There's one there and one there. and this is the radio that I have installed. It's a Sony radio. It's got Bluetooth, it's got aux. It's an improvement or an upgrade from what I had before I did the upgrade on here. However, I found out that as I'm going full throttle cruising down the lake, there's a lot of noise that comes out of the engine, and the 2 speakers that I have in the back are great for the 2 people sitting in the back, maybe one sitting back here, but for those of us that are sitting in the captain chair or forward chairs, we cannot hear the music. So the radio has a capability of 4 speakers, and I'm going to add 2 additional speakers. And the choices that I had was to put them in here, or to put them in here, which is the tunnel that lets you walk from the back of the boat towards the front. I think that placement here is probably going to be the best bet to have it for sound and acoustic reasons. I just think that I'm no expert on this here, but we're going to I'll be installing 2 speakers here, and it's going to be the same type of Sony speakers, which are marine grade speakers that I install on the back. So 2 of them will go in the front. While I'm doing that, I want to continue with the upgrades and make the sound a little better, and I'm going to put an amplifier. So this is the first video I do on YouTube, so bear with me.
Hey guys, so we're going to do the unpacking of the speakers. So again, I bought this from eBay, and it's the same kind of speakers that I have there. I noticed on the back, if you can see, there's a template here that you can use to mark the holes that need to be made in order to install the speakers. So a real quick unboxing of this here. So you have your instructions. It looks like there's instructions with some specifications as well, different languages, and some of the paper here, and your limited warranty. Some devices, they require that you go in and register in order to honor the warranty. I suggest you do that if need be. And then so here are the speakers. So 2 speakers in the box, and basically what you have is you have the actual speaker. These are identical to what I have in there, and this gives you an idea of the specifications for the speaker. Again, I'm not an expert, so I'm just trying to match what I have there. We're going to be cutting into the boat a 5-inch hole that the speaker will sit nicely against the surface, and then there will be 4 holes. As you can see here, there's 4 holes that will be drilled to be able to fasten the speaker to the surface area. And then of course you have your plate, your nice finished plate. It's actually a pretty nice finish on this. They did a very, very good job with that. So that is the speaker. Now if we move over to the amplifier, no particular brand that I searched for. Basically I was shopping price and compatibility with what I have. So this is what I ended up with. And if we open this up for the amplifier, you have your mounting screws for the amplifier. There's going to be 4 screws that will hold it in place. And then you have your cabling, and this is the cable for, I believe it's the power. We'll find out about that. And then the box, basically you take this out. It comes in nicely wrapped in a plastic bag to protect it. And then as we take this out, there's some instructions here. Here is the card for you to register your product for warranty. And here is the amplifier. Okay, you can see some of the inputs out here. Here's some of the dials for tuning. And this is your low input if you're using your RCA connectors from the stereo to here. And then this is if you're using the high input, which is basically the cable where you connect, or hardwire the sound from your stereo to the amplifier. And then on the other side, what you're gonna have is gonna have the connections for all of your speakers, your 4 speakers, left, right, rear, and left, right, front as well. And then you have your remote power. This is so when you turn the radio on, it will turn your amplifier on automatically. And then you have the positive and negative 12 volts to the amplifier, which is running power. And then of course you have an onboard fuse. So in order to cut the holes on the side, what I've done is I come up with measurements. I made a mark over here where the center of the opening, the 5-inch hole on this side. And then I also did the same thing on the other side. If I'm already started cutting here, I'm fortunate to have the right size hole saw, which is 5-inch hole saw that has a pilot drill bit in there. So basically what I did is I draw very carefully where I made the mark. Same thing like where this mark is right here. And then I started cutting. And the hole saw is actually doing a pretty good job at not chipping it, as you can see from here. I gotta go more with it. So one of the things I forgot is safety first. So I got glasses that protect my eyes, even though they're not safety glasses. I recommend safety glasses. But I'm gonna wear a mask because this is fiberglass, so you wanna make sure you protect your lungs from the dust from the fiberglass. Well, it turns out I do have safety glasses that are bifocal, people my age. And then of course, here is a mask that can protect me from any fiberglass dust that may come out of there. I also have a fan that's blowing air through that in that direction outside to help control the dust.
So what we have is we have a perfectly accurate size cut out for the speaker to go. This is the felt that was behind it. It seems to be glued to that, so it actually cut it pretty good. Let me get a close-up of the actual hole so you can see, and you can see how the speaker is going to fit into it.
So here you can see the hole that I cut through, and we have plenty of space. When you look in there, it's my fire extinguisher right there. It's a lot of dust, so please make sure you use a mask to protect yourself and eye protection. Now let's see how the speaker is going to feed into the opening. Look, perfect fit. That is a perfect fit. So once we drill the 4 holes to mount the speaker to the surface here, we can mount the speaker, cut the other side, the other hole. There's my mark right there, and we'll have both speakers installed. So I cut the other hole just as you saw me cut this one here. Cut that one there as well, and you can see that there's very little to no chip around the edges. So I strongly recommend you get yourself a hole saw kit. Hopefully it'll have the size that you need to cut out for the speaker, because it makes a real clean cut. It makes it a lot easier, and again, I can't stress enough how dusty this is with fiberglass, and you don't want to be breathing that in. So make sure you use a protecting mask to keep you from breathing the fiberglass dust into your lungs. Next thing is drill the holes and mount the speakers. Okay, so I have added 4 mounting holes to each one of the holes for each speaker. I drilled 4 holes of 1/8 with a 1/8 of an inch drill bit, which is what it's called for. But look how nice that hole came out. Not just that one, but this one here. Actually, this one came out much better than the other one, but any imperfections like this gadget edge over here will be covered by the speaker and the cover. So I think this is going to look pretty good. Let's mount the speakers now. So with the speakers, you get your mounting screws. You get 4 of these for each speaker, and then you also get these little covers that once you mount the speaker and the cover, then these little covers go here and gives it a nice finish. So let's finish installing this one speaker over here. I already started putting the screws in there, so let's finish it up. So now we mount the little covers that will cover the screws and gives it a nice finish. So as you can see right now, we have the one speaker installed, and it looks pretty nice finish all the way around. It's got the little covers over the screws here that gives it a real fine look and finish to it. I'll go ahead and install the other speaker, and then we'll go to the next step. So when you mount the speakers, you have to keep in mind the connections for the wires, and make it easy on yourself. Don't put them facing up that you have to reach over and not being able to see how you're going to plug them or how to plug them. better yet, leave them facing down this way so that you can get to the wires or the connections a lot easier. So this goes here. Then make sure that this is facing the right way. And let's go ahead and get the fresh screw started. Once you have the fresh screw started, then you can go for the second screw. Pay attention not to miss the hole on the speaker and perforate the cone, because then you're going to need a new speaker. And then if you drill the holes right, the other two should fall pretty much in place. Now, pay attention and don't over torque the screws, because then you have to go to a larger screw and it gets more complicated. This cordless screwdriver has a ratchet or torque setting here where I can set it up to ratchet and stop driving very easily, or for it to take more torque. So I use this a lot because they prevent from overdriving the screws. Once you put your screws on, then it's time to put the little cover, so it gives you a nice finish and you won't be able to see the screws at all. They did send 2 extra covers just in case, so I'm going to keep this in case in the future I have to remove the speakers for some reason and I lose one of those. I have spare ones because it does gives a nice finished look with the little tab covers in there. And that concludes the installation of the speakers. So now with the speakers mounted, we're going to go to the installation of the amplifier. Now remember that the radio is in the glove box, so all of the connections for the radio are pretty much accessible through here. So as I look to mount this here, I'm thinking that it's probably better to wire all my speakers, wire my power, wire my RCAs, and once I have all the cables to it, then go ahead and mount it, because it's going to be pretty restrictive there to get to these screws and connect all the cables for the speakers. So if I have the wires already with enough length, so I can do it down on the floor here and then go up and mount it already connected, it's going to make our job a lot easier. Also, I'm going to mount it this way so that my adjustments for the tuning of the amplifier with the stereo are accessible very easily for me once it gets mounted up there, for me to reach in and be able to turn these dials easily once mounted out there. I'll have plenty of access to do that. Once you set it up, you shouldn't have to touch those dials anymore. And so I'm going to change things up here. I'm going to work on the wiring. I have to run the wires for these 2 speakers. I already have the wires for the back speakers run to the stereo, so that should be easy. And then I have to find out how I can get the wire from this speaker over to that side of the boat. So I'm going to be running 2 cables from where my power distribution is. You can see out there is my fuse box, and I'm going to be feeding the speaker wire that way with 12 volts. That's going to go to the other side. So those wires I'm running down there, then I'll dress them up, and what I'll do is I'll tuck them up in here because there's some other wires that are running right alongside of here all the way around, and they come out underneath the glove box where the radio is and all those connections. So I finished dressing up the wires, and you can see that those little anchors here that go, plastic nylon ties that goes onto the screw, they basically screw really easy into it, and then you put the wire tie and hold the wires in place. So I have one there, a couple more wire ties. Notice also that I didn't do any sharp bends on the RCA cables. Just, I don't know if it'll affect it or not, but you can see how they're routed. The main thing is that these are all basically out of the way for somebody to be sitting here, because that's where their feet would go when they're sitting in the front left seat. So everything's out of the way. I still have access to the gain adjustments for the amplifier if I need to do that. I also have access to the RCA connectors, and I also have access to the speaker wires as well as the power if I need to do anything with it. All the wires behind the radio are tucked away, neatly put away. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do a sound demo and see what it sounds like. Well guys, so the installation is complete. We installed the 2 front speakers, one here, one on the other side, and of course we installed the amplifier down below the glove box where the stereo is. I'm very happy with the results.